Welcome to Season 12, Episode 18 of the Young Hearts Run Free podcast. We promised you, we put out a bonus episode when we spoke to Stevie Boy while he was still on the land of the rising sun. We promised that we would come back with a full debrief, the aftermath, call it what you will. He's back in Bonnie, Scotland. Not sure if the jet lag's passed over yet. We'll find out about that as well. There may be some content that we cover here that we covered in that brief catch up when Stephen was still in Japan. We make no apologies because we can't mind what we spoke about. Let's just do that. But the content's brilliant. We also asked our listeners, we gave them the opportunity to submit a question for Stephen. Ask Stevie Boy anything was the back call. Stephen's not seen the questions. He's not heard the questions. So I am going to field them to Stephen. But first of all, welcome to the Young Hearts Run Free podcast. Stephen Watt, how you doing?
Thank you, John. I am doing no too bad.
Good
to be back in the motherland.
And we will be putting this one out on YouTube, if only for the reason that people can see that fine garment that you're wearing. Let's talk about the garments and the merch for the Tokyo. Let's start there, man. What was it like?
Let's do it. It was, well, this was the pre-ordered race T-shirt that you paid a wee bit extra for. Wasn't included in the general entry price.
So there was no T-shirt at all. You had to opt in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
cool.
you picked up at Expo.
Right.
Before the race.
And I also seen some folk going about with like wee mini bathrobes after the race. What's the script with them?
You got one of those. Everybody got one of those at the end. They're like terry toweling ponchos.
Ah, yeah. Did the job.
Similar design to this.
Can you see a lot of folk wearing like hoodies, the big oversized quilted things?
Dry robes.
Yeah. So
no, these were like a race memento. I think it was in lieu, maybe instead of a kind of T-shirt at the end, they give you this thing that is a bit. Well, it was really warm on the race day. If it had been cold, it would have been just what the doctor ordered. But actually, there were still tons of folk prancing about with them on.
Aye,
getting their selfies and stuff. Aye, I'll maybe just wear it. I'll maybe just cut about perf in it for a wee while.
And I think I commented on one of your, maybe it was a post you sent to me, maybe when there was you in study. What's that boy's name? Derek,
aye.
Derek, yeah. You, Study, and Derek were sitting in a bar, replenishing, rehydrating. And you had that T-shirt on. I think I said to you, I think that's the best marathon finishers T-shirt I've seen. It's a belter.
Aye, it's a good thing. It's pretty unique. Very JC.
Yeah, ASICS, what's the brand? How do you pronounce it?
ASICS.
Yeah, and the material, good.
Why, it's a high quality garment.
Good, yeah.
No qualms about it. It's yeah, and then it's that Japanese sizing. It's like, suddenly I thought I was gurning out an XL, but maybe would be gurning out an XL to be honest. But yeah, the sizing of Japanese clothing is one up, at least one up.
At least one.
At least one.
At least one. Now listen, because I said in the intro there, we might talk about some things a couple of times. Let's go. You were there for a good wee shift.
What?
Let's talk about Japanese observations from the viewpoint of Stephen Watt. What did you find out?
Amazing shite hooses.
Well, I'm going to speak about going for a number 2.
Are we?
Because we've had a wee pre-chat, and I met a boy in Lisbon, and he said to me, "It's worth going to Japan just to go for a shite." So if you want to start there, then that's absolutely cool. But there must be a list as long as your 2 arms.
There is, but for some reason that one bubbles to the top. I don't know why. It's a very important, something that everybody has to do. So why not do it in style?
Let's do it, man.
in style and in comfort. You
It's
know,
a belter of a start on episode. Let's do it.
these rooms are phenomenal, and I'm being back googling if I can get one installed in the house in the downstairs codgy at what manners, to be honest, because it's, do you know what? It's the heated element. The heated seat element is an absolute game changer.
That's just
Seriously.
that's just an encourager right away.
You're ensconced on there for a good 45 minutes.
Aye. Brilliant.
No
man.
good for for some, facets of your maybe. You've plenty of scrolling on the pan in Japan. On the pan in Japan. That's ridiculous. But aye, but there's a whole combination of functions on a little control panel, and I thought that was maybe just in prestige toilets, but no, that's everywhere. That's like in the wee crummy codgy that they didn't exist, just on the street or anything.
So
Everything's pristine.
So right, what's on the console?
Oh well, where did we start? Yeah, there's scooters going everywhere.
Okay.
Right? There's blow dryers in
the codgy.
in the Thomas Crapper. Right? Right? There's the whole shooting match. There's the best thing, John, you like this in, right? Is there's a wee discretion button.
Oh, that's like that big red button that says "Do not press this." I'm in.
So get out maybe if you're in a row of cubicles and you maybe didn't want to. You maybe got a wee dicky tummy and you didn't want to advertise the fact. Well, you can press the discretion button and it plays sort of white noise and music to avoid the splashes in the spot. Oh man! So I don't know if you're going to top this part. And we've maybe hit the crescendo too early here. I don't know, John, but the discretion button is. Yes.
So that's just to save you sitting trying to cough and time things at the same time.
Exactly that.
I love Japan.
Oh, I do too.
I'm roasting as well.
That was the top of the pops or top of the plops. Sorry, it's a murder when you're laughing at your own jokes. So yes, the toilets were a few levels and notches up for what we call our comfortable reading room.
Brilliant, man. Okay.
So yeah, so that struck me because I was off the plane and right in at the Cludgies just to see what the crack was right away. Before I even got the bags, I was like, "More than that."
It's always good though when something's been described to you as good, and it's maybe not good, it's even better than what you'd imagined.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And that sounds like that experience. So
absolutely. So I agree with your pal that you met in Lisbon.
Yeah,
it's worth going to Japan just to
visit the toilet, visit the small room,
visit the lavy. So yeah, but we flew into an airport called Narita, so Tokyo, but Narita, which is further away from Tokyo. It's like the Ryanair airport. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you need another flight from there to get to there. But not that bad. I think the main airport serving Tokyo is called Haenda, and it's like 15 minutes away from the town centre. Town centre on like the underground, whereas Narita you're an hour on the train to get in. So
yep.
So we'd flown into there and then fired into Tokyo Central Station on the Narita Express.
When you
immaculate, John, absolutely immaculate.
When you mentioned Tokyo Central Station, right? Think of anybody can think of wherever they've visited. Sorry, got something falling off my chair. You can think of a place you've visited, but I've been to New York, right?
Yep.
Central Station, it's mega, it's massive. Is it on a par with that? You've been to New York. Is it on a par with that?
It is. So, from a visual point of view, the facade of Tokyo Station is quite famous. It's actually the backdrop of the finishing straight of the marathon. So when you're seeing the marathon finish line, it points towards the quite a historical facade of Tokyo Station. Aesthetically, it's no on Grand Central Station levels. However, what you can't see is the vast underground system, ecosystem of this massive railway station that actually, when you look at it for ground level, you say, it's quite a big train station. Underground, it must have about 7 different levels of subterranean action, including a bit of it that's just off food. Like, I mean, eating out places, buying stuff for scanning on the train places. It's like an ant's nest.
It's a very good description, because folk can think about what that's like. Amazes me the creativeness and the engineering that goes into these sorts of things, man. It's mind blowing for me to think how that was constructed and how it's managed. And you say the Japanese culture, they're very proud of how clean and cleanliness.
Yep.
So, but that doesn't just happen. It's a massive effort to.
I think the scary part is you arrive in Tokyo Station and it's like a maze trying to get out of it. Like it's one of these ones. If you know, can you become accustomed to it? If you're using it all the time, you know exactly where you are. But as a first timer just arriving off a long haul flight, you're like, where the fuck am I going here? Like, do you know what I mean? It's not even the biggest station in Tokyo.
Wow.
No, the second biggest. Shibuya is the biggest, and in fact, the busiest train station in the world.
Man.
Fact.
Because you can get lost in a small airport. You know, when it's in a different country and maybe
train station.
And it's a different language as well. What about the signage? Is there?
No, it's quite intuitive once you kind of get tuned in with it. You know, once you get tuned in with the signage and how to follow, really quite clever, because you go on Google Maps, you're saying you're on that train and you maybe say, I want to go to the hotel here. It guides you out of the maze of the station once you know what to look for. So, do you know what signs? Because there's all the exits have different numbers and letters associated with them. So A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, 2, but Google Maps tells you how to get out by following exit B3. That's going to take you to South Ginza, which is where your hotel is.
When you say it tells you how to get out, it says to you, walk 200 metres, turn left.
No, quite like that. But once you pick up the little symbol that you're following, your eyes are then able to catch that symbol, and it's just really intuitively designed to make sure you get out to the point that you wanted to get out of. Whereas you could have come out 100 different places.
Yeah.
So it was really, really pretty.
First
service design.
First side question: what was your mobile network like?
So I used for the first time ever an eSIM. Never used any of them before. Would now use nothing but them.
Hassle free.
Loaded it up before I left. Turned off on the flight. Turned off my own physical SIM card in my phone. On landing in Tokyo, turned on the eSIM, connected to the network. I prepaid, I think it was 20 quid for my eSIM for like 30 gig of data, and never used it all. So it was 20 quid for my eSIM, and it was flawless 5G the whole time, even on every underground that I was on. Never once drop signal.
How do they even manage that?
That's John, it's absolutely wizardry. But there you go. They've sussed it,
brilliant.
Man. They're living 20, 30 years ahead of us.
Aye. So their toilets certainly are. But
right they are.
Light years ahead.
Right up the dowper.
we're 15 minutes in. We've only covered a couple of subjects.
We've covered the toilets and arrival.
Yes.
We're in it for the long haul.
There's lots to cover. So, other observations.
So, arriving in Tokyo, you know, your head's full of expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Spent a lot of time, you know, researching, thinking all these things we've got today, looking at videos on YouTube, and too much time on TikTok, if I'm being dead honest, which I'm now deleting because it's like brain rot. I've not deleted it yet. Then I check to see when I've deleted it. Okay.
I've never logged into TikTok, never used it because I kind of get addicted to it.
I didn't. That's a very good point, John. So you arrive in Tokyo Station. Now, Derek, who was Stoddy, Paul Stoddart and I were travelling together. Derek had arrived a couple of days before, so he was like the advanced party. He was staying in the same gaff as us. So, but he'd kind of sussed it. So he came and met us at the train station, and he says it's just a walk to the hotel, whereas we had it as in like, oh, we'll get a taxi or get an our tube. He says, well, it's only like a 8-minute walk. We're like, magic. Followed Derek, bra. But the first thing that strikes you is how calm. So we arrived on Thursday evening at 6:30, 7 o'clock into the biggest city in the world, into one of the busiest train stations in the world. But it was just calm and orderly and quiet almost. 35 million folk live in Tokyo. It was like I'd arrived in Arbroath.
Respect to Arbroath.
Aye. I mean, it didn't resemble Arbroath.
No. You wouldn't get a kipper down there. That's smoky.
No at all. Well, if you tried hard enough, I'm sure you would.
Maybe.
It was just, there was, like, so you went out in the street, there was no horns blasting.
No chaos of a big city.
No chaos of a big city. And no nose to tail traffic. Your tea's in the oven. Okay. Cool. I no nose to tail traffic, no sirens. New York is a good example because you've been in New York, I've been in New York, and there's just a constant din.
Yeah.
The buzz of the big city in Manhattan, and you know there's fucking noise and just chaos type feeling. Nothing. It was just like you'd arrived in a big town.
Yeah.
Rather than the biggest city in the world. It's hard to explain. And the drivers dead courteous and nobody like fucking ramming up your arse going, God, I'm in a rush. It's the typical behaviour that we see.
Which is quite surreal. Because you'd be expecting that volume of people. You'd be expecting that. So
the rules are followed.
And what are the rules? Walk on the left, walk on the right. What's the story?
Just didn't be a cunt. That seems to be the main overriding rule. I don't know if it's advertised like that on sort of public information, but that's what it feels like. There's a lesser degree of fanjans.
All right. So maybe we should all be turning Japanese. The whole world should be turning Japanese, maybe.
Well, it's something to consider because I know, and you kind of get that Zen-like. Yeah. A good example would be the underground. So you look at the underground map, and it just looks like somebody's just put lines everywhere, and it looks really complex and hard to navigate. It's no in reality because it's intuitive, like everything there. It's been thought out and planned. But on the station platforms, so you go to your phone, you go to Google Maps. What we did before Google Maps, we have to use our brain, I guess. Okay, but now we're using our brain is using Google Maps. Cool, right? I'm fine with that. You say I'm leaving Tokyo Station and I want to go to Shinjuku, which is another hood, shall we say. And you say where in Shinjuku you're going to be going. So I'm going to go to the Nike stop to get my schwanks. Say, right?
Mm-hmm.
It tells you the best carriage to get on that train, and all the carriages are marked where they're going to stop on the platform.
And they stop
So
at an exact
yeah,
location. Yep.
so it tells you the best carriage to get on to place you in the best spot on the platform when you arrive at the station to get to the exit that you want to go to get out of that station. So you've got the shortest walking distance and the least awkwardness, right?
Mm.
So you get onto the platform. The trains are just like clockwork. I think I ever waited on a station more than 2 minutes for a train to come the whole time I was there. And we dotted about a lot, right? Got on the train. No, before you even get on the train, platform's quite busy. There's markings on the platform to say where the door is going to land. Yeah.
Yep.
And here on the markings in the platform are an orderly queue forms at every point. And folk open, the doors open, folk get off the train, the folk on the platform wait till the last person's off, and then they get on in the same order they arrived.
So there's no LBs out.
There's nothing. There's no LBs out. Sometimes the trains are that busy and you're squashing yourself in, but everybody's kind of cool with it.
Aye, I like it.
I like it a lot. I like it a lot. And then on the train, it's dead quiet. Nobody's getting their knickers in a twist about anything. Most folk are just sitting there on their phones, but a phone no on silent or connected to headphones is frowned upon.
What about, do you get the buskers on the trains? The folk that come up and sing you, serenade you, or the day tricks, anything like that? Not allowed?
Nada. Nothing of that. I didn't see one busker, beggar, JK.
Because that was
one of them in the same category.
That was one of the things certainly about big cities. You get it in London, you probably get it. I've never seen it in Scotland actually, but you get it certainly in London. You get that in New York. You get it in Barcelona. You get on a train, and the carriage door shuts, and somebody's out with a wee speaker, and they're just trying to make a living, but they're singing to you, and it can become uncomfortable, when they're going in with their hat. So nothing like that.
Tolerated. That wouldn't be tolerated. No.
Okay.
And everybody's just sat there. There's no. I didn't once feel unsafe. Now I'm sure Tokyo's got its underbelly, and we weren't exposed to that. That I can remember, but I didn't see any feeling or sign of, I'm feeling a wee bit dodgy here and dicey here. Nothing, no even a smidge of it.
Brilliant. That's a great recommendation. And I think some folk listening into this will listen into this in the future when maybe they and their family are going to go and travel to Tokyo for the marathon. So that's brilliant to hear for yourself to say that you felt safe all the time. So I like that.
Whether folk felt safe in my presence, I'm not so sure. The kilt on and everything, didn't I?
That's another different episode. That's on the Patreon level membership.
Yeah, when John interviews average Japanese people who were exposed to 3 Scotsmen.
Right, listen, we're still at trains.
I could speak about the trains for a whole episode. Maybe we should have Young Hearts train free. No, that was wrong. That would be
wrong. That'd be the wrong way around,
aye. Young trains heart free. Oh, fuck, I've lost the plot. So I could speak about train, and that I've not got past. I've only done underground trains so far. I've not got to Shinkansens.
Overground. Maybe we can drip feed this, right? Because we could be here for 3 hours doing this debrief.
I'm a fucking converted train spotter.
And and then we've no mentioned running yet, right?
Pish.
Well,
right, we have now. That's just mentioned running. On to the next observation.
But we do have questions about running that we will get to, listeners. Hang in. This is a marathon.
Well, do you want to hit us with a listener question just now, just to break up the monotony of me speaking about trains?
Let's do that. Let's go. Let's do that. Let's go with, where's the dinner plate going? for those who need to know or don't know, the dinner plate is the 6-star medal that Stephen's going to show. If you're on YouTube, Stephen's just getting it now, and he's going to show us that. If you've been on Stephen's socials, you've seen this. It's the 6-star medal that you get for completing all the world majors. Where is that going to... Well, let me double this up with another question. Where is that going to go in your house? And are you going to get a big... You did a good photograph last weekend of all the single medals with that in the middle. Yep. Are you getting a presentation case done? What's the story?
Look at it, John.
I see it, yeah. It's like, remember the guy? Who was the guy? Was he Argentinian? The boy McAllister played in the World Cup final. Won the World Cup.
Alexis.
And he played for Liverpool at the time.
Still does.
Yeah. And he went to training in Liverpool. And these young boys come up the side of his car and he just handed the World Cup winners medal outside his car. And they were like, going like that. Oh my God. Are you going to go about Perth like that?
I already have been. Got a wee confession to make, John.
You're going to all the shops asking for free stuff during your medal?
I've been tearing the air through it.
No.
Wee bit. I apologise in advance, because although I've been busy on my old Instagram account showcasing my wares, I've not even got fucking started yet. I know, fair enough if you want to just drop off my Instagram account, but if you're that way inclined and want to see more, then give us a follow. What in Perth?
So we'll add that to the show notes. So is there going to be a presentation case, and where, in what manner will it reside?
Well, I've been assessing options. Yeah, because at the moment they're hanging up on the medal hanger. Well, at the moment, my Tokyo and 6-star medal are sitting here, but they're on my medal hanger just amongst other normal medals. But they deserve maybe a little bit more recognition from the norm. So, yeah, there's a few options for displays available, and I'm just kind of picking my preferred.
Because at some point in the future, depending where this is placed, somebody's going to walk in your house and say, "What's that?" And you can say, "Come on, I'm going to make you a coffee or a tea. Just tell you have a wee seat there. I'll tell you all about the
kludgies. The kludgies of Japan and the trains.
Let me ask you another medal-related question. Which of the 6 was your favourite? So this is marathons, right?
Yeah.
Now, please don't get sucked into recency bias, right?
No.
Okay. Which of the 6 was your favourite, but also which one did you enjoy the least? That's quite a challenging question.
Who posed that question?
You said you were... Well, do you want names? I can give you it, yeah. David Gillespie. Wondered. David Gillespie.
Okay. Cheers, David. So, we're talking about the actual marathons rather than the medals.
Yes, it is.
At first, when I was hearing you, I was like, what's my favourite medal out of the 6?
Well, what is that? What is your favourite medal?
Boston is my favourite medal.
Why?
Kind of reminds me of a St. Johnston medal.
As in the colours of the ribbon?
Aye. Blue and yellow, sort of wee thingies. But it's also class. It's a class medal.
I think also they're all massive marathons, but Boston's iconic in it. You know?
I think Boston was the one that I thought that I would never get to do.
Yeah. Because of the entry system and all that stuff.
Yeah. So Boston holds a lot of esteem in my head. Picking out a one as to what was the best, they're all good for different reasons.
Okay, that's fair enough.
If I was to rate them 1 to 6, that would be a struggle.
Aye, because there'd be too many variables to bring in to think about.
Because there's a marathon itself, and then there's the trip that went round that marathon. Like, how could I not put you and I were in Berlin as number 1? That was amazing.
Yeah.
But that's actually number 6, actually, John. Sorry to disappoint you.
That's all because of that Friday night. Anyway, never mind that. Never mind that. And is there one that you could offer as least favourite, or is that just not even part of the game?
So, like, London special, because it's got so many folk watching it. I think that's its big strong point. Because Berlin was good, because Berlin is good, and it's a nice flat, fast course. Tokyo, well, Tokyo the place is just out of this world. But then I suppose like Chicago, New York, and Boston, it's that American centricness.
Yeah.
So although the 3 of them are all good individually, they're New York and Chicago probably in particular are quite similar.
Okay.
But it's almost like it's voting for your least favourite rather than the worst.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And as I say,
and New York was that long ago, 2006. It's probably diminishing in my memory.
Yeah. So yeah, that's fair enough, man. That's fair enough.
I've not really answered that question, David, but hopefully I've given enough kind of context to get me out of it.
Right, let me go. I'm going to batter into these now. What major did you find the hardest course?
Ooh. Again, I think on paper New York's the hardest, but it was my first ever marathon and I didn't hate anything to compare it to at that stage. So at the time it just felt hard for loads of reasons.
Yeah.
But on paper, I found, even though it's my PB, Boston is really, really unique.
Yeah, I remember. Is it Boston that's got Heartbreak Hill?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember you saying that it's like a downhill for a good old scalp of the way, isn't it? For the start.
Almost a half marathon. It's very similar to Loch Ness for anybody who's done Loch Ness. The elevation profile is quite, if you laid them side by side, they'd be quite similar. Fast, easy to get carried away in the first half. Need to throttle it back. I could have spoken to my former self, despite people telling me, about adrenaline and things like that. And then it's the placement of the hills. There's a series of hills called the Newton Hills at Boston that come in at sort of 15 and a half, 17, and then 19 miles. And it's after, quad smashing down and getting a good half marathon time, you're flying, and then you hit these lumps and you're thinking, as standalone lumps, they're not that much, but it's the positioning of them within the context of the 26 miles and how they come. And then because you get to the top of Heartbreak Hill and the course profile again looks, the last 6 miles is downhill home. Don't let that fool you.
No, it's never quite as easy as that. But you would say New York was the most challenging, but that's maybe because it was your first as well.
Aye. I think I'm actually only comparing 5 because New York was 1 long ago and 2 my first marathon. So whatever was in front of me felt like it was going to be hard. I remember the hills in Central Park at the end. There's quite a lot of rolling hills that are quite unexpected. At 22, 23 miles, it's no the greatest. But I couldn't really remember at the time. My whole body was just sore at that point.
Okay. So you have to graph. You've got to graph for any marathon, to be honest. But
definitely. I never underestimate a marathon.
This one takes us. This next question will take us back to food. And I know food in Japan is something you want to speak about, right? However, before you think about Japanese food, which of the 6 cities has the best scran post-marathon?
I think you'd be hard-pressed to beat Chicago.
Ooh, okay. Okay, man. So,
yeah.
Okay, cool. Any specific dish you're talking about?
At all.
That was a quite wonderful thread on Instagram of what ate in Chicago.
Oh yeah.
That was
I've not
quite
done that
magnificent.
for Tokyo.
Well, the people are waiting.
Well, if the
Certainly
demand is there.
this one is anyway. So,
Yeah, there was plenty of good scran in Tokyo, but it was more varied in Tokyo and
what,
West.
do you want to speak about Tokyo, Japan, food? Do you want to do that?
Aye, food. Biggest thing and is the variety and the lack of shite food. Like everything was a good high quality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, you know, I can't remember eating it one thing that I thought, oh, that's a bit meh, a bit rubbish. It was all really high quality, and I think it's again the they take something and then improve upon it. Pizza.
Yeah.
And they take it. Well, how could we make that even better? Like the whiskey, they take that. They come over to Scotland, learn how to make whiskey, take it back to Japan, and then apply that same, but try and do that kaizen, continuous improvement. And it's right they do that on all facets of life, including the scran.
How do they make pizza better?
They put different things in the dough and different toppings that feel quite alien and unique, but work.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so food and the variety, is it fresh? Is freshness a thing?
Tasted fresh to me.
Mm-hmm. That's
John,
cool. I know you like your scran.
They've got these convenience stores. Conbini, that's what they're sort of affectionately known as, Conbini, right? And there's 7-Eleven, there's Family Mart, and there's Lawson. That's the three main ends, right? I swear to God, there's one of those three every 50 yards on every fucking street.
Okay.
Right? They live in these places, right? So it's not like the Mace or the Copy. It's more like fast food places that's got some provisions as well. But you get something for the fridge and you can take it to a microwave and heat it up, and they've always got wee seats that you can eat it there as well. Or they've got these, right, let's just go there. They've got these egg sandwiches. Right? You think to yourself, it's like an egg mayonnaise sandwich. How good can an egg mayonnaise sandwich be? At the end of the day, it's eggs and mayo and bread.
Mm-hmm.
John, these are absolute life-changing things. An egg sando, right? They cost like £1.20, right? And it's like they have a battle between those three outlets of who does the best egg sando. I sampled all three of these outlets, and they're all tremendous. There's something about the bread. It's like got a sweetness to it. It's like milk bread or something. Don't know what. But they must put something. I don't care if they're maybe just sprinkling a wee bit of cocaine or something in the egg mix, because seriously, these are absolutely phenomenal. I think I sent you a photo.
You did? First night? First night?
Aye, because that was one of the first things that I wanted to sample when I got onto the mean streets of Tokyo. And then you get fried chicken and stuff. There's a fried chicken counter in all these places. And the boy behind the counter's just deep frying chicken all the time and stocking up the fried chicken counter.
That photo you sent me was a bit of fried chicken on an egg sandwich.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
That's like a hack thing, you know. So you get an egg sando, and then you get and it's no chicken breast they use. It's like thigh, so it's juicy. It's juicy chicken. It's got a good coating on it, and you lash that inside the egg sandwich, and you wolf it, and you think to yourself, life doesn't get any better than this.
No, that's it. Brilliant.
Seriously, man. Sorry if I've given anybody sort of food envy there, but these convenience stores are. If you could go to Japan for a shite and a visit to one of those convenience stores and then come home, that would be 800 quid well spent.
And your life would be immeasurably better.
Forget about running the marathon.
Aye, yeah, it's that mad.
That's by the by. So, the food. So, like the quality of the food, and like there's just tons of wee places. There's just tons of wee places that are really, really good, and they maybe only have like enough people to seat 10 folk, and you're not sitting around the table. You're sitting facing the wall because it's so wee, and the wall's kind of full of condiments to put on your ramen. Say,
Oh
the
yeah, I love
ramen,
that.
the
Brilliant.
ramen is just like it's of the highest class that you can imagine, and yet it feels like you're just in a wee sort of dive restaurant. But it's no, there's a queue outside, and they turn you around dead quick, so you're only in maybe for half an hour.
There's a
It's
few
not
wee
a social
ramen.
event.
Yeah, there's a few wee ramen places in Finnieston, in Glasgow,
Yes.
and it's
Yeah.
done exactly. Well, I'm saying it's exactly the same, but it's that idea what you've just described. They're small, and it feels like wee and pokey, but the food's good. But you eat and then you move. Somebody else comes in. Brilliant,
Exactly.
man.
So a lot
Brilliant.
of these places, and especially the popular ones that have been made maybe popular through viral, because everything's viral.
Yeah.
So there's a queue at the door. You know, and sometimes you look at the queue and there's like 30 folk queuing outside this little restaurant, but the queue goes down really quick. And what you do is you order on a machine outside.
Yeah. So when you go in, it's machine. The process is speeded up.
It's there. So
brilliant.
Phenomenal. Other food observations in the convenience stores, they've got hundreds of fridges that it's got soft drinks, kind of all the iced lattes, bevy, and then they've got a hot fridge. We all like coffees in a bottle that's hot. A hot fridge. Why the fuck have we not got hot fridges?
Exactly, man.
Seriously, this makes so much sense to have a hot fridge. And they've even got like hot orange and all in it. It's not just coffee.
There must have been some investors, innovators for the UK or Europe that have visited Japan. How have they not brought that back with them? They don't want to spoil us, maybe.
Too busy hooked on egg sandwiches. That's what I think. So,
right,
hot fridges, plastic straws are still in existence.
Mm-hmm.
Plastic cups, none of this paper crap. Save the environment. Sorry, Damien. Yeah. But there's plastic cups and plastic straws.
Yeah.
Magic when you've been used to sucking out of those paper straws for as long as we have now. When you get a plastic straw again, it's like, you know.
The paper ends are all well and good, but they go soggy, don't they, before you get to the bottom of your juice?
Yeah. And then I ate tons of good stuff. The coffee is of a high standard. High standard coffee. I had a Starbucks and it was like, this isn't Starbucks. This is far too good to be Starbucks. Just crafted and cared for. Don't know.
Yeah, I love it.
You tell me. And the biggest thing about food, the eggs are absolutely phenomenal. Like, how good can an egg be, right?
Oh, I love an egg, man. I love an egg, man.
But these are like, they feel like Rolls Royce eggs, every egg. No, and you often get an egg plopped on top of your rice, and you think to yourself, well, that's no cooked. But then you get your chopsticks and mix it around, and it kind of emulsifies with the heat of the rice.
Yep.
And it's just creamy, and it's just like, I'm like, what are we doing with our eggs that, like, Japanese, what are they doing that we're not doing? I think it's all down to the farming processes and stuff like that, because apparently there's a tiny, minute risk of getting salmonella for a raw egg, and so much so that it's just accepted raw eggs are all right in Japan. Raw eggs are all right.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not a case of I'm going to get salmonella. It's like because it's been eradicated out of their farming process. Eggs.
Okay.
Game changing.
Yeah. Oh. Good source of protein also.
Oh, aye. But just phenomenally good.
Okay. Back to listener questions. there's been a number. I love the fact that our listeners are comfortable asking questions about feces and excrement.
Yep.
Okay, so there was a number of people had asked the question: did you shit yourself during the marathon? However, there were other questions. 6 races, 7 medals. Have you shit yourself in any of them?
So I've no shat my pants.
No. I know. We spoke about, was it London recently? There was that. There was an explosive thing that you encountered. It wasn't you.
Aye, but maybe I also had a wee bit of a rumble in my tummy that day as well. But I wasn't the furnisher. I wasn't the decorator of that kludgy in London.
No. So but then you've had a shit though, going through the. Did you?
But that's my one and only major marathon shite.
Yeah, that's the question. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Cool.
Won 6 marathons. In fact, I've done London 3 times. So what's that? 8 marathons in the World Marathon Major Series.
One jobby.
One jobby. 26.2 times 8, which is 212 miles or something. I had one jobby.
We won't speak about
proud of
that. So you should be, because that's all about the preparedness of the morning of the marathon. That's a different episode again. Right. On the subject of shit.
Yep.
And we've got a question from Michaela, who goes about picking up shit.
Oh, sure she does, eh?
She does. She's a plugger. Eh? She's a plugger. How many gel pouches did you drop on the ground during the Tokyo Mara?
Oh, zilch.
Good man. That's the answer Michaela's seeking, and she'll be very pleased to know that. So, thank you for.
I was still fishing out gel wrappers from the wee side pockets of my shorts after they'd been through the wash when I got home.
Because they stick to the inside of that pocket.
And Mrs. Watt's like, might empty your pockets before you put all your shengus in the wash. So one thing on toilets actually in the marathon in Tokyo, that so at the start there were massive rows of cubicles, that were queued out, and the queues were that long. I never got to the front of it before I had to go to my pen for marathon start. Really needing a pee. Now, peeing on the streets and exposing yourself in public, it was very, very clear that is culturally unacceptable.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm in the starting pen, choking for a pish.
What do you do?
What do you do? What would you do?
I would risk getting lifted.
Would you?
I would die.
So, what did what do?
Furnish us.
So, I had a wee bit of sweat on my brow, if I'm being honest, because when you're really, really needing a pish, and every place that I was looking, every wee nook and cranny that I thought to myself, I've pished before here. I can show you. I'll show this lot that you can hear a discreet pish someplace. Anyway, there was I was in the pen and there was I was assessing the situation, and I was like, I'm just going to pee
in your leg.
But then, but I didn't want to do that because chaffing could have been affected. So I was like, and then I seen this boy sitting on this raised flower pot thing at the side. It was round, a round thing. It was concrete, but it had bedding, some. And I was like, I'm just going to go and sit next to him, see what he's saying to it. And I'm like, all right, pal, how we doing? And he was a Swedish boy, dead nice. I said, I'm really thirsting for the toilet there. He said, oh, I was the same. I used my Ziploc plastic bag. And then he showed me his piss in a plastic bag. And I think what he was basically doing was offering to pour it out so that I could also use the same bag.
All right.
But anyway, maybe he wasn't. He was just like that. And I said, okay, well, I'm sitting on this flower bed just now, and it feels about the right place to sort things out. Yes. And very kindly says, I shall cover for you.
So about making pals. Making
He
pals,
was,
man.
he was the best of pals. And yeah, so because it was just like a couple of minutes till race start, and then I looked at it and somebody says, oh, it's 5K until the first toilets. And I'm like, that's 3 minutes. Now, you know, at London, folk are just before they cross the start line, where the timing chip mat is, they're just peeing. Boys and lasses I've seen doing that. You know, and it's just that's what it is. But there's none of that, and it wasn't. You weren't thinking that's going to be something that I'll do. No, because I think you would have been disqualified, and they're really sticklers for the rules. So I was respecting that, but sorry about that. That flower that won't flower.
You've used. Maybe it will. Maybe it'll grow brightest of all.
Maybe it'll be a 6-star flower.
Maybe. And how did you feel after said urination?
That jubilant.
You're a winner already, man. You've not even crossed the start line. You're a winner.
I was euphoric, but I was also at the very back of the pen because of my situation. But I wasn't rustling up the front or anything like that anyway, but it was fine. It was job done. So that was a wee bit of a panic station. And then on the course, there's toilets every, say, 5K, right? But there's a person, a race marshal, standing with a sign pointing in a direction. It'll say something like 800 meters or 1.3 kilometers. And I'm like, what if I go to the toilet there? Am I expected to, is it 800 meters to get to the toilet and 800 meters to get back to the course just now? Because that's an extra mile to go to the toilet. And there'd been some conjecture on Facebook groups that that's what happened. But it wasn't. It was 800 meters until the next toilet on the course. But the way the sign was, it was like that to the left in 800 meters time. That's what I was trying to say. But when you seen it and you weren't sure, you thought the toilets are up 800 meters up that street. That's pointing it. But it was saying it was either left or right. It's going to be a toilet coming up in 800 meters time.
Yeah. So again, anybody listening to this who's going to Tokyo either next year or in years to come, that's a valuable bit of information. And also, if you're in a pen and there's a big plant pot, don't be shy. People have been there. Stevie Boy's been the trailblazer. Sorted out for you.
Well, maybe I'll not get back now, but anyway, I didn't need to go back.
Make sure you find a Swedish friend. What was your Swedish friend's name? Did you check that out?
And weirdly, I asked him what time he was hoping to run, and he says, around about 3:20, and I says, I'd imagine I'll be round about that as well. And I remember seeing him on the course like at about 35K, which I did, but I wasn't in any fit.
Did he carry that bag of pee round with him?
No, he left it in situ.
Good man.
Aye, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He might have pierced it or slowly poured it out, But
aye, definitely.
It was like one of these bags that you used to get a goldfish at the shows.
Aye.
At the carnival, Ken, if you won a goldfish.
Say, by the way, what a shout. Sticking one of them in your pocket for that very reason. And then just nick the end off it and just let it drip out. Oh,
I know. It's very impressive. It's the
brilliant, man.
Swedish efficiency.
Right.
So, yeah.
There's a number of people have come in and have asked us a very similar question. I was going to wrap them up with, are you going to Sydney? Have you got eyes on that? We know that Sydney's been
added.
It's been added into so it is going to be 7 stars. And I know they're talking about Cape Town and other ones as well, aren't they?
Aye.
But people have asked about Sydney. Is it something that interests you?
Yeah, I've got two of my biggest mates for school and my youth who stay in Sydney. So
Okay.
this sounds like the ideal opportunity to visit them.
Mm.
I've been to Sydney to visit them before, and Sydney is a no bad wee places to go see and run. It also will be the major marathon with the most elevation in it.
Right. Now, I know hee-haw about the world major. I know you get a medal for 6 stars because we've had
Yeah.
people, we've had guests on the show who have
Yes.
got these 6 stars, right? And that
Uh-huh.
6 star medal. But we've spoken about it. What's the script? If you go to Sydney, do you get a new medal with 7 stars?
No, I don't
No?
believe so. I think what they're doing in the first instance is that you'll get a 6 star medal for doing 6 of the 7.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think perhaps when I think about it, is the rationale that a couple of the marathons out of the 6 are hard to get into for a lot of people. And I'll probably say Tokyo and Boston are
Yeah.
those ones. Yeah. So it can be quite exclusive.
So you can
The
still
6
get
stars.
you still get a 6 star, but there's 7 marathons to choose from.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So if you can't get your BQ, or you can't quite, justify the time and effort to raise quite a lot of money to do a Boston charity place, or indeed
Mm-hmm.
you haven't got the riches to pay for a Sports Tours International place, which you need to do a few years in advance, getting into Boston can be quite aspirational.
Yeah. Okay. And we should
So
say BQ, you're talking Boston qualifier because it's all down to times, isn't it? That's the way they
yeah,
work it.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. And it's a smaller
Okay.
field in Boston as well. 30,000 in Boston makes it the smallest of the majors. I think there was 37,500 in Tokyo. I think I got asked that last time. So yeah, in answer to your question, never say never. The
Cool.
brownie points have completely diminished, and the business case would need to be written from scratch.
Yeah. But then there would be a.
It's a September marathon as well, which clashes with the Auchterarder Running Festival.
Oh, I was going to say it's perfect for a family holiday, but
No, in
oof,
September, eh?
not in September. No, not in
Uh,
September. But
so
anyway, I'm sure backup plans and contingencies will be getting planned as we speak
yeah,
to make that happen. Jim Boyle,
well done
do
in
you know
Barcelona,
wish?
Jim.
Yeah, very well done and phenomenal run, really good run.
Brilliant.
This is to you, obviously. Don't you wish you'd taken more pictures?
There's pictures of what?
Your stuff, your trip, your visit. I think he's got his tongue firmly in the side of his mouth with this in
Ah,
Jim.
cool. Because he is a man after my own heart when it comes to pictures. Because he has been doing a whistle stop tour of Barcelona and furnishing us with some great pictures on his Instagram. So,
He has.
I think there is a fair raft of photos, and I've only shared a fraction of them.
I think, yeah, Jim, JC speaking here, we're at the tip of the iceberg with regards to photographs being released, and they
No,
shall be.
I didn't care whether I should just call it no.
So,
Keep on going. Let me
you can
ken.
you can do it. If the listeners are going to have a word, let us know what you think. Have you had enough, or are you craving more? What do you want? What do
It's
you
also just
want?
a good place for me to document it, isn't it?
Of course it is. We've
And
said that
that's
before, but
yeah,
people coming on this podcast, it's a time in life that you can then say to folk, if you want to ken about it, there you go and listen to that. What you're
aye,
doing is documenting. You didn't write race reports, but you're
no,
living it through these images and videos, and it's
yeah,
brilliant, man. And remembering
journaling,
that, yeah,
journaling. So yeah,
definitely, it's a
cheers, Jim.
travelogue. What's the best activity you done in Japan? This is going back to some of the reels that we've seen.
Yes,
Stoddy put out a brilliant reel as well. But so what's one of the best? What was the best activity? Your favourite activity?
Mario Karting was surreal and something else. The
Hmm.
Mario Kart, it's called Japan Kart. Um, it was really, really kind of sort of pinch yourself stuff to say, am I really dressed up as Piglet here driving a go-kart around the open streets of Tokyo for like 2.5 hours? Wasn't it just a case of fleeing about a circuit safely? It was, I think we covered like 14.5 miles going around the sights of Tokyo on the main streets, just right across Shibuya Crossing, which is like Piccadilly Circus. And
is
you
that
were
that
nicking
famous?
along
Is
at
that that
40 mile
famous
an hour.
crossing? Is that that
Yes.
famous crossing? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I did a wee time lapse of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's famous. And you know, you're just like, what? And you're nicking along at 40 mile an hour with your earth 2 inches off the ground 2 days before you run the marathon. Wondering how you've got a sore glute. So the Mario Kart experience was something else, amongst other great things that we did. So we did on the Tuesday, we went to try and see Mount Fuji. So we went on a day trip to go and see Mount Fuji. It was pissing down of snow. There was no sign of Mount Fuji. It was completely and utterly cloud covered and snowy, cold. It was 22 degrees on the day of the marathon. It was -4 on that Tuesday. That was the disparity in the temperatures. It was like a cold front, Siberian cold front came down, and it was Baltic, like Baltic, cut you right in two, that type thing. So yeah, we went to try and see. That was disappointing because in my head I was like, I'm going to see Mount Fuji. That'll be like iconic and all that jazz. It was still a great day.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but it was maybe just like taking the gloss off it because we didn't see Fuji-san. Yeah. However, on the departure day, it was a blue sky day, and Stoddy and I decided to go up the Tokyo Sky Tree, which is one of the big observation towers. You know, it's like 1,300 meters or something high. You know, and here we got to the top, looked out, and there's Mount Fuji. That's kind of right in front of us. Brilliant. That was a moment. Like, you know, just seeing that in the flesh and how visible it was. I think it was like 65 miles as the crow flies for where we were standing to the summit of Mount Fuji, but you could just see it like clear as a bell, and it was all snow-capped and just iconic. That was a good moment.
Brilliant. Just like the Young Hearts Run Free banding for season 12.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, Mario Kart.
There's a wee twist on the Sydney one, actually. The Sydney question. Is there another overseas marathon you'd like to do? It doesn't have to be a major.
Yeah, no, that's a good shout.
You spoke about Jim Boyle doing Barcelona.
Yeah,
I've done that
Barcelona's
myself.
definitely on the itinerary. Yeah,
it's a brilliant. Yeah, but is there any others there? Because I know we've spoken before about Amsterdam, that sort of stuff. Yep. You know,
all of those you've mentioned. I think one that does actually interest me is the Istanbul.
You spoke about that before. Yeah,
across the Bosphorus, and you know it's like. Yeah. So you're running from Europe to Asia type thing, and that's maybe a bit of a uniqueness. Plus, I've got a pal who stays in Istanbul who I know would be a good cheerleader.
Put you up and take you for scram. Brilliant.
Exactly. So that's maybe one. Rome looks good. You know, it's just a different way of seeing the world, isn't it? And
100%.
The other ones like Marathon de Medoc. Remember we had
a glass of wine, the wine runner.
Of wine. The wine runner. And then there's one in Belgium which goes around all the breweries as well. Goes around all the Belgian beer breweries, which looks a good crack. So they're doing it for different reasons. But it's almost like where do I want to visit? Has it got a marathon? Aye, good excuse.
Definitely. And then a sort of similar question. Are you still a marathon man, or is there a new challenge? Like, are you going back to ultra, or?
Well, I've never really labelled myself as a marathon man.
But you've done the 6 majors, so you are a marathon man.
I like to be quite ambidextrous.
So, well,
I think I've done more ultra marathons than I have road marathons.
A couple of people have asked, what's next? So let's wrap that up with this. What's next for Stevie Boy?
Nothing.
Hee-haw. No
Nothing.
plans.
Zero.
Okay. How are the legs? How are the Achilles? How are the glutes after Tokyo?
Achilles are fine. They've been behaving. Hopefully with a bit of adaptation and sensibility, I've helped towards that. So they're okay. Glutes are glutes. They was kind of reminding me that they're there, but never to the point of saying stop running.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Tolerable, easy tolerable actually, and sometimes I think they're that normal. The sort of wee dull aching, that's that normal that that's normal. Everybody of a certain vintage and maybe more will be able to relate to what I'm saying there. Hamstring wasn't good, so I'll need to do something about that.
You got a physio about that? Is it at that stage you've got to think in physio?
I probably know what I need to do.
Okay.
Which is a bit more discipline, strength and conditioning, and all the stuff that I know I should be doing, and I've got this indiscipline.
Yeah, and when you say nothing in your head just now, because I know Tokyo's been your focus, what you've been doing, but running wise, but nothing on the agenda at all.
Just zero, nothing. I've not signed up for one race. Open to any proposals or suggestions.
I'm sure someone will come along that will prick your interest, and you'll think, "Hey, we got that." But it's just no. That's a good place to be as well, man.
Definitely, I kind of purposely did that, so
just that freedom of thought, So
see what way the wind's blowing.
A couple of folk have asked this one as well. Mm-hmm. Of the 6 major marathons that you've completed, and you've got that dinner plate medal, completing the set, what one? If you could run one of them again, what one would you do?
Boston.
Boston's coming up. It's obviously ticked all your boxes. So Boston's the one you would go back to. And let's say there was a bit of an add-on to one of them. Is there one you would not do again? But I think you've enjoyed them all for, as you've said, different experiences.
Yeah. There's no one that if somebody said to me, "Would you go and do that?" and the opportunity came along, that I would say, "No, I'm not doing that because I didn't like it." Nah.
Yeah.
Nah, they've all got their pros and cons. I think it's fair to say. Like the Tokyo route wasn't the most inspiring.
Yeah, and you spoke about that the last time we spoke about. There was like bits you were doing, like running a bit and then turning about and coming back, and
that's fine. I think there was 4 of them. It was only the last one that done my head in. The other 3 were totally fine.
Yeah. That ends the questions that have come in, because there was a few doubles and trebles.
Yeah.
But thank you to everybody that submitted a question. It was just a wee bit of fun, but we've learned loads from you providing these questions. So didn't stop there. Get in touch with us. If you've got any questions that we've not covered, fire them in. We can talk about the world major marathons in Tokyo for a long, long time. So please, if you've got a question, batter it in. Even if going to Tokyo or any of the majors is on your list and you've got a question about it, batter it in and we'll answer that question for you. Stevie Boy is the man in the know. He's been there, done it.
Aye. I've got the T-shirt.
Yeah, you definitely have. I have a question from the head of me. One of our most popular things that we've done since we started doing this podcast was our recent Running Rants episode that we put out. Any new running rants since that aired? Did anything happen in Japan that would constitute a running rant? Over to you.
Yes, marathoning, water stocks. So I think I said last time about they'd ran out of cups and things like that, and they were pouring water in folks' hands to get them some hydration. But it's not that. It is folk just coming to an abrupt stop when they grabbed a cup of water to drink it. And with no
Okay.
consideration for the fact that somebody's running behind them, grabbing the next cup of water being offered by the water stock table. Just completely and utterly stopping so that you run into the back of them. It's like you're almost like leapfrogging them.
And try to jump with that water over their head, and because your momentum's to keep going.
Yes, yeah. Because
Yeah,
I'm no like I'm doing all that on the move, right? But if somebody does want to grab a cup of water and then stop and walk for a bit to drink it, but then you do it right instantly when you grab your cup of water.
Nah.
So that somebody batters into the back of you.
Now you move on, you move across the road a wee bit to let the flow keep moving,
I noticed that more so in Tokyo than I have in marathon.
Okay. Are you talking about European runners? Or are you talking about, is it mostly European runner, like non-Japanese?
No, obviously.
Right,
European,
okay.
South Americans, they were bad at it. I felt that was just a thing that they did.
Right.
No, because I've seen a few sort of, I don't know, Uruguay and I don't know, Venezuela, that's Central America, isn't it? But like, you know, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, you can't just grab a water and then just stop. Like, I mean, stop. No, you can keep on moving and walking, just stopping to drink it. And I'm like, so I started going into the water stops like this. For those know on YouTube, I'm what am I doing, John?
You've got your forearm out.
Aye, I've got my forearm as a sort of like a bat shield.
Like a sword.
Remember Batfink?
Yes.
Yeah, I am Batfink. I am going in to
Where
these
were you
water
going with your
stops.
elbow though? Was that going in the back of the person's neck?
Wherever it lay.
Okay.
Right. Usually I wouldn't go for the elbow, it would be the forearm.
Yeah, the bone.
The
Right
meaty
in
bit.
there.
The meaty bit. But you know, on occasions I was swiping right.
Oh. Stevie Boy's running rants is in full flow, baby.
So yeah, that was something, is that. And the one thing, I can't remember if I said this before, there was say 9 or 10 water stock tables, all with different numbers. 1 to 0 actually, yeah. 1 to 0. And you were meant to take the cup of water from the table that corresponded with the last digit of your race number.
Okay.
So I should have been table 3.
Was that well communicated?
Wasn't it brilliant communicated? I must say. You'd need to have read the race pack to see that. And I was aware of it, so I'd often just go to the left, and often table 2 there was nobody at it, so I just grabbed one. It wasn't a case of you shouldn't have taken that, you might be table 3. It was just an advisory to make the flow of people at the water stops. So they were trying to do something about it, but it was maybe wasn't made as obvious as it could be.
Okay.
As such. So I thought it was a reasonable idea, but maybe no executed communication wise brilliant.
Well, see, where that falls down is folk not reading the race briefing.
Aye.
And also some folk just not giving a monkeys and just doing what they do. So if you are running a marathon or any place that approaches a water stop, didn't you just go to a standstill, move on a wee bit? Have an awareness of what's happening around about you.
Forearm smash for Stevie Boy. And got a meaty forearm. So beware. And also read your race briefing if you can. To be fair, I read mine whilst I was having my 4th sleepless night in a row pre-marathon. Jet lag, definitely.
Jet lag. Talk about jet lag. In preparation for the race, did it play a part?
I try to think if it certainly played a part, and it manifested. Whether it played a part in my performance in the actual race, I don't know. You sometimes didn't sleep very well before a big race anyway, you know, so maybe just labeling that as jet lag is a fine excuse to hang your jacket on. But I didn't sleep hellish much between Wednesday and Sunday.
What about post-race or post-returning home to Scotland?
Returning home to Scotland.
How's the adjustment been?
no so bad coming back the way. Coming like east to west for me seems better than going west to east.
Okay.
First world problems, eh?
And it's just these, what do they call them? Circadian rhythms or something, isn't it? It's what your body's used to and how you sleep, and it's just your sleep pattern. Your body goes right.
So like what I do is like I'd drift off to sleep, like 11:30, 12 o'clock, and I'd wake up at 2 o'clock ready for the day. Not unable to get back to sleep.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And then at 6 o'clock, then it's 7 o'clock, and you just manage to drift off, and you hear like what feels like 30 seconds sleep, and it's maybe half an hour, and it's gold. And then it's time to get up, and you're like, well, I'm not want to spend the morning sleeping whilst I'm in Tokyo for this once-in-a-lifetime trip. So
exactly, man.
Batter on, as they say.
I think some of the stuff that, like, certainly what Jim Boyle was referring to with the photos question, you certainly filled that time to the max with the non-running stuff. It is an experience that I think most people might only do once in their lifetime. So you never know.
Yeah,
you might go back 2 or 3 times, but you might only be there once. So if you're going to do that, make sure you do what you can. You even got to the football.
Went to Yokohama F. Marinos game. That was an experience, an insight. I like going and experiencing different footballing cultures as well. So that was certainly that.
When we went to Berlin, you went to see Union Berlin on a Friday night, didn't you?
I did.
So it's good to do these things.
I do. I like people watching and things like that at these types of cultural get-togethers.
Okay.
Did I speak on the debrief chat about? I remember at London, it was the boy in the mountain who was chasing me.
You never spoke about that in the Tokyo debrief, no?
So there was a guy who I kept on passing. He kept on passing me, and he had a denim shirt on, a lovely pair of denims, and a pair of flip flops, and a race number.
This hasn't been mentioned.
I could have fucking wanker. This cunt was just breezing along as if it was nothing.
Brilliant.
In full double denim and a pair of flip flops. Looking like the coolest Japanese guy you've ever seen in your Nelly.
Oh, man. Brilliant.
Absolutely just grinding my gears he was. I also wanted to shake his hand as well, but he was looking uber cool and uber relaxed in his double denim and flip flops.
That's some feet like, in that heat as well, man. Denims.
I know. It was biling at the end for a Scotsman. It was biling, and I was wilting. As I was wilting, he was just monotonously, effortlessly gliding along in his flip flops.
Well done, double denim man.
I know. I wish I could get him on a photograph or something like that, so I could have got his race number and then
track him down.
Send him a message saying, "Good on you, mate. Good on you, double denim boy."
There's been quite a bit of chat on social media. Let's give this guy a shout out as well. The guy, Perth Roadrunner, that you met just at the finish. You did touch on that. Do you want to say a wee bit about him?
Yeah. So Gary Smith is a Perth Roadrunner who, despite me living in Perth all my days and him living in Perth all my days, I only really know Gary through the fact I've seen him at half marathons and stuff like that. And I've kind of gotten to know him just through Strava and things like that. But we got a chance to meet in Chicago because he was over doing the Chicago Marathon in 23 when I was over there doing that too. And he came for a pint with us and had a good crack with him. And it transpired that he was going to be in Tokyo. So I was sort of messaging him saying, it'd be good to catch up after the race and toast. He was completing his second time round the 6 stars in Tokyo. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
I know. It's really some achievement. And so I hadn't seen him or seen him or hear of him because I'd said, message us after the race and we'll see where you are, see if we can team up for a celebratory pint as such. And here, honestly, it was just remarkable. About 20 yards for the finish line, I was like, look to my left and here's Gary just finishing at the same time as me. And like we all the finishing photos, I've still to publish these on Instagram. They're leaving some good content, by the way. But so we crossed the finish line kind of embracing and celebrating together, going, Gary, Stephen, what the fuck? All the time in all the places. And I finished, right, in 4,790th place, right, out of the 37,500 or whatever, right? 4790. Gary finished in 4791. He was one second. He was 1 second behind me. But we didn't see each other the whole race. We weren't in the starting pen together. Never seen him at all. And 20 yards to the finish line, we finished together. He getting a second 6-star, me getting my first 6-star, and yet it was one place separated us as well in the race. It was just completely serendipity. It was fantastic, and it's a moment that will live long in my memory, and hopefully in Gary's too. Just as a actually that was quite something for two boys for Perth to be finishing that at the same time.
Well, what are who knows what the odds of that would be? But because Gary is a Perth road runner, he's quite well known in that group, and he's quite well known on sort of social media. So I've seen him getting tagged in and saying it's been brilliant. So well done to Gary. Amazing, massive, double kudos to Gary for doing that.
And,
so well
there was Gary doing that. There was Sarah Patterson for PH Racing, who just finished in our aftermath. She must have just been on her slipstream, and getting to share those moments with these. Sarah's been a listener at the podcast for a while. I didn't get to catch Tara Gale or Craig Lawton, who were obviously two listeners who were overdoing it, but I see them on Strava and socials and stuff. They look like they've had a great time, so well done to them too. But Sarah and my travelling buddy Paul Stoddart, they were both also getting their 6 stars, and Derek, who was our other travelling buddy, he was getting his 5th star. He's going to Berlin later in the year to get his 6th. But fortunately, Derek was there to video Paul and I getting our 6-star medals, which I'm forever grateful and thankful for, because that was a moment in time that was quite, I was quite emotional.
Why would you not be though, man? It's a culmination of, we said this before, it's not just like 26.2 miles times 6. There's all the training miles, there's all the investment, there's all the getting to the start line happy and healthy. It's a massive thing to do. Sorry, and you were going to say something else.
No, I was just lastly, another lad that we met, Rob Souter, from Cumbernauld. He was also there getting a 6-star. He ran Auchterarder Running Festival last year, and he said that he'll be back to conquer the hills this year. So well done also to Rob for grabbing his 6th star.
Bring your 6 stars up to Auchterarder in September, Rob. Bring it up. We'll get a double photo with you and Stevie Boy.
The Auchterarder Running Festival, just to give it its customary plug, last year the medals were themed around about Chicago. Yeah. This year, where do you think the medals are themed around?
Well, let's just wait and see. The big reveal will happen at the appropriate time.
Well, I think it's fairly obvious. So, yeah, that is that. So, no, it was amazing, as you can probably tell.
And I think we've maybe spoke about an hour and 20, an hour and a half here, but we could probably speak about a whole lot more. I'm sure we will off recording, and we'll come back to this, because it's a major feat. When people start running, they've no idea where they're going to go. All that stuff about you need a pair of shoes, that's a lot of rubbish, because it's a hell of a lot more than that. But you don't know when you think, for whatever reason, I'll take the couch to 5k to shift a bit of timber, or to feel a wee bit better. It might be something to give yourself a bit of headspace. And then you start hearing about 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons. And it literally takes you on a journey, whether that's going to be, some folks stop at half marathons. And there's a whole series of halves you can do. But to go to these amazing places and to have met some amazing people and have phenomenal experiences, that's life affirming stuff, man. And I think your Tokyo trip has been It's been the last one, the final one of that 6. But it's just also been, maybe it's because of where we are with social media as well, that you're able to share a lot of that stuff that was happening. I certainly felt part of that, and I'm forever grateful for that. But for you, where I'm getting to my point, where I'm going with this is, I'm fucking so proud of you for what you've done, man. It's amazing. It seriously is. It's amazing. It'll be inspiring for your own family, but it'll be inspiring for lots of people out there, runners that listen to this podcast. Their kids, because their parents will be telling their kids about this guy on this podcast. He's run all the major marathons in the world. So, well done, man. I'm really proud of you, and I love you.
I love you too, John. Thank you. That means a lot, because it's just a hobby that has kind of spiraled, really. And that's what it is. At the end of the day, it's a hobby, and you love doing hobbies, and it mixes with that wanderlust of getting to go to new places and meeting some amazing people and being joined in their company by some amazing people along the way as well. So, like, eternal gratefulness for it all, for, you know, however, and also the fact that I get to go and do it, you know, like that I've got support at home, that I get to go and do it, that I'm able and fit and healthy and could say wealthy enough to also get to go and have these amazing sort of life experiences. Yeah, quite a cathartic, I think, is the word, isn't it? Trip over to the land of the rising sun, with all that's kind of gone before in the last sort of 3-4 months for me. So
definitely, yeah, brilliant. We hadn't spoke about this. Do we have a song?
We've got a phrase and a song.
Okay, let's do it then. Are we going to call it a dialect dictionary? It is.
It's tooting we're calling it a dialect dictionary.
Okay, let me do this properly. The dialect dictionary is open. What word, phrase, or saying would you like to enter?
Now, you said konnichiwa quite a lot.
Yes.
It is a well-used phrase in Japan. Hello, it is. But when you walk into a shop, all the staff shout it at you in a welcoming, friendly kind of way. So you go into a clothes shop, you get a wee shout for all the staff. Just customary thing to do. It's magic. I loved it. It's like that. All right, I'm here. No sweat. So I love that. But the most used phrase for any tourist in Japan is arigato.
Arigato.
Yeah. Cheers. Cheers. Thanks very much. And there's a more formal version of arigato, gozaimasu. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's just a bit more formal or polite. Yeah. But arigato, if you say one word, if you learn one word for going to Japan, that would be it. Because you say it, you know, at the till, you say it in restaurants. It's just like you say it when somebody lets you past. It's just, you know.
So it's an acknowledgement, a thank you.
Just a cheers.
Yeah, brilliant.
And it was used a lot. Like, I mean, you're saying everything else in English, and then you say that at the end to qualify it as if you're an expert Japanese speaker.
Fluent, multilingual.
Yeah. Bullshit. But yeah, so arigato.
Arigato is battered right into the A's of the dialect dictionary.
Yes.
What tune are we putting on this playlist?
We are putting on a tune that is Tokyo after dark turns into quite a different place for Tokyo during the day. Yeah. And it's not in a dark and sinister way. It's in a sort of cyberpunk Blade Runner kind of way, you know. And it was raining a fair bit in the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and snowing indeed quite a lot in those days as well. And it added to this atmospheric layer amongst all the neon and stuff like that. And you know the band The Wombats?
Yep.
They've got a song called Tokyo Vampire and Wolves. Okay. You'll recognise it when you hear it, when it comes on at the end here. You'll be like, yeah, I know that song. And it just evokes that sort of Tokyo after dark sort of vibe. So
cool.
That is the song choice to
Awesome.
see us out.
That'll see us out. We've still got 2 episodes to go of season 12.
We do.
We're on episode 18, so more
Yeah.
content.
Well, I think the next episode we're going to talk about rural trains of Japan, and then the one after that we're talking about breaking into high-end onsens, which are outdoor swimming baths of thermal sulfur, sort of natural things,
Yeah,
and
it's going
how to break into such environments that you maybe shouldn't be in. Kind of off-topic stuff.
You can take the boys at the scheme, but you'll never take the scheme of the boys. No, I think, you know what, we could talk about that. And you're obviously still ensconced in all things Japan. It's had an impact on you. It's obviously in a very, very positive way, and that can only be good. Traveling is a luxury that we have, and you've made the most of it, and it's absolutely fantastic, man. I love it. I love it so much. And I think we peaked earlier this episode talking about going to the toilet. That could have been a brilliant crescendo. A crescendo in the toilet. You get that discretion button when that happens, eh? Stephen, well done again, and thank you to all the listeners who have sent in questions and messaged. Please continue to do that. But for now, Stevie-san, well done.
Thank you all. Arigato.